Hello, YouTube. Had a frustrating day in building my wild one. For some reason, my receiver broke, and I couldn't set up the way I wanted to set up because I wanted to be able to use the gyro on it. It's a radio link, 6 channel, and I'm really ticked off because I was getting all the electronics in it, and now I have to go buy a receiver. Now, I think Dumbo is a subsidy of Radiolink because my radio is a Radiolink, and Dumbo sells the gyros, 6 channels, for cheaper than the regular radio links. And I'm under the impression I'd like someone to double check for me if the Dumbos will work with my radio link for binding. Please, in the comments after we do this, and tell me what you think of these catalogs. This is the only one for the year, I think. This is 2023 Kyosho catalog. My friend Keith, KBRC, got this for me from his hobby store. They were giving these out. And his store must sell Kyoshos, so they have these lying around, as well as Traxxas. Like, everybody has a Traxxas catalog for them, because pretty much everybody at a hobby store sells them. So this is what the front looks like. It's pretty much like a magazine. There's a lot to read in here. This is the back. Here's the first page. This is their 240Z Datsun that go with those muscle car bodies that they sell on this on the Phaser chassis. They're called the FZ02 chassis and FW06 kit, hanging on racers. There's a lot of things in here. There's 51 pages in this. Here's the indoor stuff. All the mini Z's. Look at how much stuff is here to read about these things. I mean, if you're going to get something like this, if you want a Tamiya catalog that's like this comprehensive, that they ask you to pay for those. Kyosho, if you sell their products, I guess you get them free at the hobby store. There's their mini Z's, crawlers, which I know are 28th scale, I think. And the rear-wheel drive mini Z's, the all-wheel drive mini Z's. Here's the mini Z buggies. This is a nice body here. This is a futuristic style Honda 800, I think. It's one of those Kate cars. Here's more 4x4 mini Z's. New 4Runner. Hilux Surf. Jimny style. All the stuff that I think comes with them, or you can get them for them. Here's another thing on mini Z's. I mean, they have wonderful little bodies for these cars. They're very scale. It's too bad Tamiya doesn't make these size vehicles. They used to make something like this size. Tomtec gear stuff. Got a fairly large rear-wheel drive versions. This should be an all-wheel drive. I don't know why they call it the Honda because this is the Japanese version. I don't know why this is on a rear-wheel drive. It should be on an all-wheel drive one because that car is an all-wheel drive car. Another thing that was, Tamiya did the same thing with the 10th scale Miata on the M chassis and the M05, and should be on an M06. Here's that Neoclassic Racer that I was telling you about. It's called the S660. I think it's a K car because this is a tiny little car. It's what if they made this car again from like the 800, the 600s that they made back in the day in the 60s and early 70s. This is what it would look like today. This should be on a rear-wheel drive platform, this Supra. Same with, I don't know why. I thought they used to have front-wheel drive Mini Zs, because technically this should be on a front-wheel drive Mini Z, the Type R, but they put it on an all-wheel drive chassis. Makes no sense, again. Same with these. These should be on a rear-wheel drive chassis, the Challengers. You should go with what the car actually is in real life. Here's the Mini Z buggies. They got pretty motors for the little Mini Zs. Mr. 03 Evos. Yeah, the Mini Zs are extremely popular in Japan. It's too bad they didn't take off in the United States so much, because you could be doing this at a hobby store and running them indoors on an indoor track. They call this the MA03 Evo. I assume that's this particular chassis because I think the chassis, this Mini Z is different than this Mini Z chassis. Oh, this car was a rear-wheel drive car in its day. The Neoclassic one they show here. The chassis is different than the ones I just showed you. See? Look at that. They even have color chassis. Here's their electronics. They got good, nice looking colors for the chassis, and the motors are good looking. The auto scale collection of the Mini Zs, I think. This should be on a front wheel drive chassis. There were no Magazine. So should this Mazda. Well, actually, the Mazda could be on an all-wheel drive platform. The 3 Series can come in an all-wheel drive platform. Same with the Prius. Prius has an optional all-wheel drive. If I'm not mistaken. Well, that's not based on the new body, which is the prettiest Prius they've ever made, the new one. The Corvette should be on a rear-wheel drive platform. The R8 Le Mans is a rear-wheel drive car. I mean, if the public one is usually all-wheel drive. I think they have a rear-wheel drive option, but the race ones I think are rear-wheel drive. The Camaro should be on a rear-wheel drive platform. More hop-ups. They're showing the radios they suggest. The Noble's one of them for their cars. Or they'll hook to them. Tires. Optional tires. A Mini Z bag. Here's our more options. Hop-ups and replacement parts. Look, even the Mini Zs have tracks for them. 4-wheel drives. could get this at home and run this in your basement. You can set up this track to run mini Z races at your house. They have a motor rotation speed can be accurately measured. So this uses an optical system to test wheel speed, and it tells you your RPM. I think that's what it says. Oh, it does test the motor, not the wheels, not at the wheels, but I can see. Here we get into the Mad Wagon VE. It's the KB10W. That's the name of their chassis, the KB10W. A lot of people don't like the looks of this body. I'm okay with it. I'd like to have one. They say this can do 75 kilometers an hour. There's the chassis, the motor, the brushless motor that goes with it, and ESC. I swear this is a hobby wing. Some hop-ups, replacement parts. Here is the FZ02LBT chassis. This is brushed. Personally, I'd like to have all their 10 scale cars. It's just that simple. Just like I'd like to have all Tamiya cars for the most part. This is my favorite color of the brushed motor. But you can get this in brushed, and this is the Mad Van VE color type 1. It's called the FZ02LVEBT chassis. Does 60 kilometers an hour. If you want to know what 60 kilometers and all the kilometers an hour, you go 60 times 0.62, and that'll tell you your mile per hour's out of it. I would like the electric version of this. It's 1/8 scale, USA 1. The 10 scale, people have surviving 10 scale ones that they made years ago to rival the Clod, but it never ended up staying. So now they make the new one with a live axles instead of a double wishbone. And they also have it in gas if you want, or nitro. It has a Torx 8T. Now if we go back here, this is a Torx 10L motor brushless. This is a Torx 8 Plus brushless motor that they make for it. Usually the electrics have usually been faster than the nitros, but this nitro is faster than this because it has a 2-speed transmission in it. It does 63 plus miles an hour, and this does 63 plus kilometers an hour. This does 57 plus kilometers an hour. But I guess you could get this up to this speed if you just change the brushless motor. Here's all their MK2s, FZ02Ls series cars. This is the ones that have all the scale old cars and stuff like that. This was very popular, this one. People love this body on this Kyosho. So this is an FZ02L, this is an FZ02. meaning it doesn't have the long wheelbase. Long wheelbase, short wheelbase, long wheelbase. There is a car missing from this that they just came out with. It's a 65 Buick. They have a 65 Buick Regal body that's coming out on this chassis. This is a short wheelbase, long wheelbase, long wheelbase, long wheelbase, long wheelbase. Short, 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 short wheelbases. I'd like all of these series cars. Then they have these. These are this is the MK2's FZ02 and FZ02L chassis VE series, which means it does 65 kilometers per hour with the brushless system. The brushed ones with this motor will do 26. Here's all the hop-ups. This actually has headlights covers that go up and down like the old one. Back in the day, it had the covers. You can actually get it to get a servo in there and actually get it to lift that to reveal the headlights. And if you really wanted to, you could try to get these butterfly openers, for the air intake. You can get that. They have a thing that actually moves on the side of it, so you could get a servo to actually open and close these. Here is an MK2 Mustang. They call this the FZ02D series. It's the drift model. And here's the 880 old Supra model. This is a 550 14 turn can. They all come with oil-filled dampers. So I would love all these buggies except for the nitros. I'm not into nitro. But they come in nitro. This is the Inferno Neo 3.0 Nitro. And then they have the ST model. They also have an Inferno with a nitro engine on this. And this is the electric version of the MP9 Inferno. The MPE Evo V2. Comes with a brushless motor. Comes with a Torx 8 brushless motor. These are 8th scale nitros and electrics. This is an 8th scale buggy. These are 8th scale cars. A Torx 8 plus brushless motor, and of course you can get it nitro. The Blizzard 2.0. I know a lot of people. I've known some people who've gotten some of these. The hop-ups. This chassis is called the Inferno GT2 Raceback GP. The Blizzard 2.0. The Inferno GT2 Raceback VE. I assume it means Velocity Edition. And here, this has become a very popular stable online for people. Done lots of reviews on this. I would like to have this vehicle too. They say this is a really good buggy. Even though it's retro, it's based after a former car that they made several years ago. I think it's a Laser, or I forgot what model this was. It's like 7 or 5. I forgot the name. They had a number to. The Dirtmaster is actually a new rendition with new stuff on it from an old body, my whole chassis years ago. Love to have this truck. The Rampage Pro, 10th scale. This is also 10th scale. Real realistic the way this vehicle runs. The Outlaw Rampage Pro. You can build this, and you can build this one. Most of their cars here are ready sets, meaning they're ready to run. Here's the roller chassis for the Phaser MK2 FCO2, so you can build this up any way you like. This is just the chassis. You want to do your own thing. And here's the FW06 Nitro version of it. This is also 10th scale. These are 8th scale motorcycles. They've had these for a long time. What's cool about these, it's no Losi, I'll tell you that. It's not a Losi, but these are street bikes mainly. The driver leans wherever the bike leans when you drive it. But metal version 3rd gear, I wonder what that is. So they got an SRT Suzuki RGVR 1992 body. And the Honda NSR 500 1991. Those are their bikes. I've seen people race these. Here's another car I'd like to have. The RK12 MP10 8th scale buggy. This is an 8th scale buggy. And it's called the TK12 MP10E. This is the MP10TE. This is the truck version of this. 8th scale. Let's see. This is a kit. These are kits. You have to make these. This is definitely wider than this. This is length is 563 millimeters. Length is 490 millimeters. Width 307 millimeters. 414 millimeters width. Height 180. So they're about the same height, but this is definitely larger chassis. They said they've won a lot of championships. They've won Infmar World Champion, looks like several times over. There's some information on how to build them. The different shock. It looks like a. Oh, they're talking about the difference in the shock for each car. These are the nitro ones, but these are the electric ones. So this is what the 10 looks like. Don't forget they have an electric version called the MP9. See? Body's different. Same. There's got to be other differences, but it seems like their measurements are the same. But there's got to be a difference between the 10 and the 9, besides the body. I so want all their Legendary series. I have this one. They have even pretty brushless motors. I wish they would bring back all their brushed motors. They were so nice looking and they performed really well. They could make money on retro motors they used to make on the if they made brushed motors again. That would be nice. There's 11 retro Legendary series. This is a beautiful chassis. Look at that. Gold. And this is the normal one. But the turbo seems to have Oh, it's the same exact thing. It's just different colored chassis. The turbo. Okay, there's a difference here. The length is the same. The width. This is 4 millimeters wider than the original Optima. So they made this a little longer in width. Both 120 millimeters high. Look how pretty the motors are. 12 scale Phantoms. They have 3 different versions of this vehicle. Here's the other one, but there's a gold edition version of this one too. Here is their Sea and Sky RC stuff. Oh, they also make a really pretty ESC. It's all embossed in chrome. The body of it's in chrome. And here's stuff they make. Look at this. This is definitely a hobby wing, 1060s, but I have a feeling these are